hello. Friday the 13th. That one dangerous date I guess nobody likes. But it is what it is, just a day to be honest. I don't know why people put such a big thing on a date. But overall, news big dropped yesterday with new signing for Arsenal. Arteta extending his contract today. He conducted a pre-match interview before Spurs game. We're gonna talk about that. I assume he has talked about injuries and stuff like that. I haven't seen the interview yet because I want to see raw reaction basically due to this. Obviously, there are some other things happening. Hopefully, there are some news on Calafiori and Odegaard injuries as well. So let's see what's gonna happen there, and we also, of course, gonna do the North London Derby preview because this Sunday Arsenal are playing against Spurs and away, of course, and this will be a very rough game, I would expect. Now, my camera is doing a bit of a madness, so let's do this. And to be honest, let's not drag this too long. Let's dig straight into the news for today. And we are kicking things off with Butler Oyedeji, who has won Player of the Month, and I'm not sure why it is out of center focus. So let me fix that in very quickly and rapidly. But yeah, Oyedeji has won Player of the Month for Premier League 2, which is good to be honest. Good news to see some Arsenal players win some individual trophies. That's saying that they are doing quite well. Big up to him. Let's see how he develops. On top of all that, David Raya has won Arsenal Premier League Save of the Month. Obviously, in every single game we have played against Wolves, against Aston Villa and against Brighton, he has made in every single game a pretty much a world-class save. Against Strand Larsen against Wolves, against Watkins against Villa, and of course as well against Ayari for Brighton. And for this save he made on Ollie Watkins, that bounce-back save against Aston Villa, he has won the Premier League Save of the Month for August, which is big news for him because he looks in a very good form and very comfortable at the moment in the team. So big up to him for that as well. And on top of all that, according to certain rumors, and here's a sneak preview for what we're gonna talk about in the preview for North London Derby after our TED interview we're gonna discuss after basically, there are some rumors, and as we move on to North London Derby, there are rumors going around that at the moment, and these may be quashed by the game comes more closely around, but there are rumors that Ethan Vanieri, the 17-year-old, as people like to say, Top Gunners like to say, prodigy of Arsenal, may actually start. Now, whether it's gonna happen or not, obviously remains to be seen. It all depends. We're gonna talk a bit more about that in the preview after the interview discussion. So we'll see. Let me know down in comments, by the way. Would you start Ethan Vanieri? Down in the chat, in the comments, you're watching this as a playback. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good jazz as well. But the main course for today, Mikel Arteta interview. Waffle House settings back in the house. So if you have some syrup, go grab it. There might be some waffle going on. And if you think I waffle a lot on streams, which I actually tend to do quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie, he waffles even more. So let's dig straight in. Fresh off signing his new contract earlier in the week, Mikel Arteta had a press conference at Sober Realty Training Center ahead of our first North London Derby of the season at Tottenham on Sunday. We got talked about his stay, injury issues, and importance of Derby Day, and much more. Here is everything he had to say, so let's see. On his new contract, which obviously was a big topic of discussion when he signed on Wednesday, was it? Yesterday, on Thursday, throughout the whole fan base, to be honest. Big part of the fan base were happy, another big part of the fan base were very annoyed and displeased, some thought that he deserves it, some thought we should wait at least till, let's just say, March, April to see where we stand in the league and the cups and everything, and then decide whether he deserves a new contract or not. So, on his new contract, I'm really happy, really excited. I think it shows that the alignment between the club and myself and the coaching staff, that we are on this journey together and we enjoy working together. Now we have much higher ambitions and we want to fulfill them. So that's the way that I look at it. As I said, I'm really pleased and grateful as well. So nothing special. just that he's happy to stay at Arsenal. And to be honest, who wouldn't? 15 million a year for winning nothing so far. Kinda nuts, not gonna lie. On not wanting to be anywhere else. Well, that, to be honest, is an interesting one. I couldn't think of a better place to be develop my career as a player, to experience an amazing football club with the people that I met and experience that I had. Now, as a manager, that I cannot speak today. Now, as a manager, that has been something far beyond and better what I ever dreamed about, probably. To be honest as well, nobody expected him to become the Arsenal manager, and he basically, well, fell ass backwards in a very big luck in a way. On Martin Odegaard's injury, we need some more tests, so let's see what happens in the next day or so, this afternoon probably, and see what happens, what the extent of the injury is and how quickly we can get him back. He's super positive about everything. We know Martin, he wants to be there every single day, but we have to wait and see. So it's been about 4 or 5 days since he had that ankle injury, since he rolled the ankle and everything, and they still haven't done tests. The only reasoning for that I can imagine in my mind is the fact that swelling is so bad in a way that they cannot get proper scans. Because otherwise getting MRIs, X-rays, sonography and all that stuff is pretty much straightforward job. It shouldn't be that difficult, and results also pretty much come straight up forward. It's not like when you go to doctors and you have to wait like a week for a random blood test. It's priority A, and they instantly get it done. So it's quite interesting that the fact that he's been out, he has done some scans, and it's either inconclusive, either they haven't, it's something they are seeing there that they're not convinced about something, and they want to make them assured that basically none of the rocks are left unturned in that sense. So we will have to wait and see, but the way how it looks and everything, how it looked in the game, after the game, how Odegaard looked, I'm not gonna lie, it's at least 3 weeks. I would say 5-6 weeks. People say 3-4, I'm saying 5-6. I'm not gonna lie. Big up Nick in the chat. Big up Nick in the chat. Hope you're doing well, my guy. On whether Martin is hopeful that isn't bad as feared, I'll leave that to the doctor, but he's willing, there's no question about that. He wants to be present every game, and obviously in a big game like this one, but we need to make sure that we know first of all how good he can be or not. Oh boy. On not rolling him out for the derby, players with 48 hours to go are always available, but let's see what happens. There is no chance in hell that he is playing tomorrow. Let's be, not tomorrow, on Sunday. Let's be real. It's 48 hours, I get that, there needs to be tests and everything, but there is no chance in hell that he is playing, especially as a starter. There's no chance of that. Since he had that injury, the Spurs players might specifically target that place, even if he plays on painkillers or whatever they are called, on the injections, even if he plays one game. He even might try and do something like that if it's like if he can actually manage it. So there's no chance, because they will try to exploit that opening as much as they can. It will be like legitimately an Achilles heel for Martin Odegaard. So there's no chance on hell that he's playing tomorrow on Sunday. I don't see him playing against Atalanta. To be honest, let's be real, I'm not seeing him playing till mid-October. Basically, after the mid-October, after the October international break, I think he could be back, but I also wouldn't put my money on it. I think he's gonna be out for 5-6 weeks, which basically starting from last Monday that just happened, is till about, late October. That's the time I'm expecting him to be back. And also, in some level, I really hate that they don't say things straight up forward. Because for Arsenal, it's like a reoccurring theme in a way. He says, oh, he's gonna be out for a couple of weeks, and then we don't see him for 2-3 months. And that is something I think could be also happen with Odegaard, and nobody wants that, obviously. But at the end of the day, they never say anything straightforward. They just dilly-dally around the bush, they say something without saying anything, pretty much. And that is something that really, really annoys me. Really annoys me. And it's not the same Mikel Arteta. Many managers do that, but Mikel Arteta does it very, 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 very much in this instance, and it really, really annoys me, I'm not gonna lie. On Mikel Merino's injury, another injured player. Holy crap, I'm not gonna lie, we have like more injured players than hospital. It's bare. It's a slow process, man. That word process needs to go, because it's a bone and it takes a while to heal. Obviously, it's a bone, it takes a time to heal. he's progressing well and already doing some stuff. He's working extremely hard, and we are using this time to make sure that he understands a lot of things that he has a lot of questions about. And when he's back, he's ready to go and impact the team. When he's gonna be back? How about that? When is he gonna be back? On whether he'll be back before the next international break, so basically by October 5th. We don't know, honestly. It's very difficult to understand the healing of the bone. What? I think at the moment he doesn't have a lot of symptoms, so you can speed it up very quickly because he hasn't lost anything else, but we have to wait and see. So basically he says nothing. It can happen, it cannot happen. Will he be back before next international break, which starts after October 5th? Well, yes and no. Go decide. Basically, drink your coffee and start telling your future in the coffee, basically, at the bottom of the coffee. Just do that. Might as well grab a magic 8 ball or whatever and ask the question there. Basically, that's what he has said here. He doesn't know, or he doesn't want to reveal it, that it's more severe than they actually thought at first. Because it was all good dandy and everything, they would say, yeah, it will take a few weeks and he will be back. Like, legitimately, he would say 2 weeks and I think he could be back. But they never say exact times. Most of the managers never do. I get why. At the same time, they should be selling something. Because if someone does something in the training, gets an injury, and they say, well, he could be back, but he also couldn't be back. Well, those are the two options. Everyone in the world, goddamn, knows that those are the two options. He could be back, or he could not be back. How about leading us more on something that actually could make it realistic and make us understand whether he's gonna be back or not? How about that, for instance? No questions about Calafiori so far. On Gabriel Jesus returning to training, Gabi was out there, he's got another session tomorrow, and if everything goes well, he'll be ready to be selected in the squad, which is great news for us. So pretty much it is confirmed that Gabriel Jesus, I would say based on this answer, is about 90% ready to be selected for Arsenal's squad. Starting 11 or just on the bench, I'm not sure yet, but for the next game against Spurs, he could be available. So that is some good news in an instance. On Ricardo Calafiori's availability, it's another one that we have to wait another day or so. So basically, he's not gonna play. Oh, bloody hell. So Merino is not gonna play, Odegaard's not gonna play, and Calafiori is not gonna be there. Jesus is back, Rice is on a red, which means we're screwed. Happy days. Although, when we're gonna do that North London Derby preview, predicted 11, everything, 100%, the way I see it in my head, the starting 11, we should be winning the game. I'm not gonna lie. Moving swiftly on Raheem Sterling and stuff like that. On Raheem Sterling, if he could be involved against Tottenham. He looks great, first of all, because he's got a big smile on his face and a lot of energy. What? He's at it and wants to prove a point. When someone has got that in their belly, he loves that word belly, by the way, you sense it straight away. Obviously, I don't need to discover anything about his quality and what he can bring to the team. To be honest, fair point in that sense, but again, could he be involved? Doesn't answer the question. Because obviously, he could or could not. Those are the two options. Here, and in this instance, how he answers, yeah, he looks great, he has hunger in his belly, I don't need to know his qualities because I have already coached him. Okay, cool story, bro, didn't ask. Will he or will he not be available? Like, how about telling some heads-on information, not just beating about around the bush, or just basically when you get asked a question of apples, you answer a question that's about oranges. How about that for a change? On wearing our away kit for this game. Not sure why that's a thing, but at the same time, it's not ideal. We wanted to play with our home kit and our colors, but it's not our decision. We'll adapt. We did against Villa and won, so hopefully it's going to bring good luck as well. It's not ideal. Yet there is an interview where Mikel Arteta has admitted himself that he prefers to play in a black kit. When you remember a few years ago when we had that black and gold kit, I have it somewhere in the closet, had it just washed. But yeah, we had that black and gold kit. He got asked about those kits and he said, I like to play in the dark those black kits because it strikes fear into our opponents. So let me ask you this: if the black color of the kits strikes fear onto our opponents, so why it's not ideal that we playing in the black kits? Although overall this is a bit of a farce in a way, to be honest. We have never had to change the kits from red to other kits. We usually tend to play in our red kits against Spurs away. Yet for once, at some random point, for this game specifically, it is not happening. And the big question is why? Because it has too much white on it? It cannot be a reason. The biggest reason, obviously, for me is the ball is white as well. So why is that color not changed? The goal lines are white. The lines on the pitch are white. Goalposts are white. The netting is white. Why hasn't that? Why there's no necessity for that to be changed? For me, it's mostly because of VAR. Referees are blind as they are. They're useless pretty much in Premier League. And having Arsenal to wear a kit with white sleeves or something like that against Spurs, who play pretty much in whole white at home, definitely would kind of stir up the pot if it came down to like a, let's just say 50-50 goal, which basically everything rides on it being offside or not. That definitely would affect it, and I think it's basically to cover the asses of the of PGMOL and the referees. Not per se for Arsenal, not per se for Spurs, but PGMOL pretty much is covering their asses, because this request to change the kits as well, from what I understand reading some articles and everything, doesn't come from Premier League, doesn't come from Spurs or Arsenal, it comes straight from PGMOL. So basically, in that instance, that pretty much says everything you need to know. They're just covering their asses because they cannot see white on white. So why didn't they ask to change the color of the ball or color of the lines on the pitch or the goalposts? So it makes no sense, let's be real. It legitimately makes no sense. PGMOL asked it, everything complied, and that is the case. That's about it. Basically what they're saying, we're gonna cover our asses, our referee's gonna do the job, they're half blind and everything. It feels like when they draw the lines on VAR, it legitimately is like they're drawing on Microsoft Paint. They just draw the line and they just hope it doesn't match or does match in a way, depending on the badge or whatever the result should be. It's actually kind of wild, I'm not gonna lie. More questions about Sterling. Oh, let's get it. On what Sterling has been since arriving. Oh, cool. Facecam, hello? My facecam is doing a bit of a madness again. Sorry, very sorry. The lighting isn't great, not gonna lie today. Still haven't added that light I have. It's lazy, let's just admit it. Okay, back to Sterling. I see his hunger. He's a player who wants to play every minute of every game, and when that's not the case, he's not happy. He loves football, it's what he likes doing every single day, and I see that. His commitment, the level of energy that he's bringing to the team, and the quality is a big boost. You can feel that in the players as well as he walked through the door. We are better with him, he's going to make us better. Cool, good story, bro. He basically, in the previous questions for Sterling as well, right, where it was asked, on Raheem Sterling if he could be involved against Tottenham, this answer he gave about this question pretty much could have been added as a separate paragraph into this, and you could have skipped this question and asked something else. Because this question in this paragraph didn't get any answer whatsoever. He got asked if he could be involved, yet he got an answer, he looks great in training, I don't need to discover his abilities because I know him already. So basically, he either could be playing or he could not be playing. Every single fan in the world knows that, and when Arteta gets asked if he could be playing, he doesn't give yes or no, he just waffles about the fact that he has hunger in his belly and stuff like that. Like, what are we doing here? Just, if you have your maple syrup, this is perfect thing to do. Just eat it up. On unlocking his goal scoring ability, we're talking about Sterling still here, he has his ability and the credit to that is his. And the players that he's got around him, you need what you are on one of the front players, certainly. He's got that intuition that will, and then the ability to do that, and I'm sure he's going to impact the team. Okay, cool. On how the club has evolved in Mikel's time here. Oh, this had to be good. In the way that I think we all wanted it to happen, because we all wanted a very different club. We are in the right direction. We have the same. We have made some huge steps, and we have a lot still to make. So we are in phase 5. If he says there we have still a lot to make, so what? Still about 3-4 phases? Phase 8, phase 9, phase 10, phase up, and all that stuff still. You sense that the hunger from the ownership to the board to all the players and staff is here. And this is the aim and the objective. What hunger from the ownership is there? If this was the transfer window to basically close the gap to Manchester City by signing a striker, backup winger for Saka, backup number 10 if you're sending out ESR and Fabio Vieira, signing another number 8 besides Merino, and yeah, what about that? Where is the hunger in that sense? Because we are very short. We have the thinnest squad in Premier League with 22 players. 4 of them are out due to injuries, which means 18, and Rice has a red card, which means we have 17, which means we can field starting 11 and 6 bench players, which also coincides with the fact that we will need to put some under 21s on the bench. That includes, I assume, Wanyeri, Skelly, maybe Setford, and someone else. So at the end of the day, we will have 2-3 goalkeepers on the bench as well. There is no hunger in them, because this was the window to do it all, to go gun-ho and basically win it or lose it. But they didn't do that. So they have an excuse for next summer or January or whatever, when everything inevitably at this stage, based on what we are seeing, is gonna fall apart. Oh, but we didn't have the best window. Oh, there are still places to improve. Oh, but we didn't get a striker. We all could have done that this summer, but they just decided not to do it. Let's be real. And if there's another club or country he would have left us for. Oh boy. No, it's the emotional attachment that I have and that my family has. My kids have, the experience that I have, and the involvement with the people. It's too strong. So you want to tell me that if, let's just say, for the sake of an argument, there was Al Nassr in Saudi and they offered you 25 million a year compared to Arsenal's 15, you wouldn't have left. 10 million more a year. So basically you get a 3-year deal, 30 million more. And in Saudi it's tax free, so you get everything net. You didn't even have to pay taxes on that. So you want to tell me you wouldn't do it? Like, seriously. If Real Madrid, for the sake, although Real Madrid wouldn't get him, that's just a dumb thing to say. I'm talking more Saudi and other teams. Like, seriously, he wouldn't have done that. I don't believe him one single bit in that sense. He already contemplated leaving Arsenal 2 seasons ago when we finished second for the first time with 8 points being clear of them at some stage of the season. He already contemplated leaving Arsenal. How come never that gets brought up now when he signs a new deal, when something goes sour, when he finished second last season? How come these questions didn't come up then? They only came up when he just started in the summer before the season 2 seasons ago. Since then, it's been grave dead silent on that front after that. Why? Tell me why. Genuinely, tell me why is that? Anyways, Ethan Wanyeri, that is something we want to know. Because this is not what we are seeing from the fan base, predicted 11s and everything with Wanyeris and everything. It's actually wild what the starting 11s, legitimately. We have gone 2 injuries, 1 red card, and I have seen about 15 to 20 different starting 11s already. 15 to 20 starting 11s. Already! That just shows that how shallow is our team for squad depth. Because if we had proper depth, nobody had any arguments, it would be quite consistent who would come in. But the fact that I have seen genuinely about 15 to 20 different starting 11s already means the fact that nobody has any clue what starting 11 is gonna be there. And on top of that, I don't think at the moment Mikel Arteta doesn't even know the starting 11. He's gonna basically wing it, I would say, tomorrow evening before the game, maybe tomorrow after training he will announce or something like that. Obviously some positions are a lock, but the positions that are basically a question mark for everyone, and that, let's be real, is 1, 2, 3, 4 positions in the team, right? I have seen legitimately 15 different starting 11s. How insane is that? How insane, in what spin our fan base has been sent by 2 injuries and 1 red card that it has come down to this. That is actually kinda wild, I'm not gonna lie. Big up BX Gunner in the chat, big up bro. Sterling is only good with his dribbling, his decision making and finishing quality are... It is questionable, I'm not gonna lie. His dribbling is great, he can take on his man, especially with the high line they play, he could do the things. The big question is, if we exploit that high line they are playing, and let's just say Sterling starts on the left wing, we will get to all that in a second after the interview. Will he square the ball to empty net or will he shoot? Because remember the World Cup, I think it was, where Sterling had to square it for Kane or Kane had to square it for Sterling, I don't remember now. I think it was Sterling who had to square it for Kane to score a goal and he just selfishly shot it straight at the keeper. Will he do that again? Who knows? Legitimately, who knows? Anyways, on Ethan Vanieri, we have to adapt to changes in the team throughout the season. We are going to have these kind of situations. It happened very early since the second game because when you look at the bench that we had against Brighton, it's very different to the one we probably would have expected. It's the situation that we have. We have to face it, use the opportunities. The young kids have given us a lot of hope and right reasons as well to count on them. And we need to do it for sure. Well, it's nice that he acknowledges that he needs to play them. The issue is he hasn't done it yet. So when it's gonna happen, the big question is, when we're gonna be winning 4-0 against someone and he just subs them on, that doesn't for me specifically mean relying on them, counting on them. Counting on them means when the game is, let's just say 1-1, 2-1, something like that, and you put them into these stressful situations when you need to see the game out, need to score a goal, need to hold on, need to do something specific, not when game is said, done and dusted, when there's no pressure on anyone. Then it for me it means nothing. You need to put them in those situations that test them basically. We'll have to wait and see. But let's see. On his best memories of the North London derby. Not gonna lie, nobody cares. On the respect he has for Ange Postecoglou, nobody cares. How much Sterling has evolved since his time at Manchester City. Obviously, in his personal life, a lot of things have changed since we were together. Pause. The first call I had with him, I knew straight away after 10 seconds. 10 seconds, really. We had to bring him because he really wanted it. And that was my only question mark. What stage is he at in his career? What phase is Raheem Sterling in his career? That's basically what he was asking. And I knew after 10 seconds, bring him here. 10 goddamn seconds! So, let's be real. How this phone call could have gone that in 10 seconds he knew that he needs to bring him here. So basically he picks up the phone, he says hello or hi Mikel or whatever. Oh hey Raheem, it's Mikel, how are you? That's about 3-4 seconds already. Oh, I'm good, and blah blah blah. That's about 5-6 seconds. And then you want to tell me that in the last 3-4 seconds he asked him something that instantly convinced him that he wants to play for Arsenal. You want me to believe that? So if you in 10 seconds knew that you need to sign Raheem Sterling, how come it took you month and a half to sign Calafiori, 1 month to sign Merino, if you could get this deal basically, in this instance, agreed upon on every single side apart from Chelsea in 10 seconds? How comes? How comes it took legitimately month and a half to sign Calafiori? What the hell is this about? How do you get players signed in 10 seconds? How do you convince him? What were they talking about? What had Sterling said so inspirational, so incredible that in 10 seconds you have signed him? Because in 10 seconds you barely can say hello, how are you doing, and you get an answer on those questions. That's about 6-7 second conversation already. So how in 10 seconds you have discovered this? I genuinely really would like to know, not gonna lie. Or if Mikel can build legacy at Arsenal like Arsene Wenger and another successful managers. No, he can't. But hey ho, he says that he can. Well, at least he believes in himself. But you're talking about the best in the history of football, certainly in his country. My aim and motivation is to be the best version of myself, the best coach in the world ever for Arsenal. Okay, I'm not gonna get into this talk what Arsene Wenger won in his first 5 years at Arsenal. But let's just say he's well far from that. Mikel is very well far from that. What the club needs, what those players need, what we need, blah blah blah. On his message to Arsenal supporters, thank you. That's what I would say. Thank you for your gratitude, for the time we have spent, for the trust and confidence they have shown, and hopefully that can continue. We are here to make people happy. Whoa. Slow down there, cowboy. And enjoy their passion, which is to love and follow our football club. We are responsible to try and achieve that for them. Good luck with that. 4 years, nothing achieved. Well, 4.5. On Kai Havertz has adapted his role in the team. He's been great. Obviously, it was a journey until that point that we navigated together, but nobody doubted the quality that he can bring. Nobody doubted the quality. You are serious. You are joking in this instance, right? Because when he was playing in the midfield, I would say about big chunk of the fan base cussed him out. And now that he's playing up top, he's doing something good, somewhat good, and nobody wants to see him in a midfield whatsoever. So I'm not sure that nobody doubted the quality. The success came because of his character, his personality, and how he approaches every game, every situation, facing and going for it. It's a joy to have him. Okay. On the size of the squad that we have. Oh, here we go. 12 play. Oh, here we go. 22 player squad, 4 injured, 1 red card, 17 players available for the game. Let's see. It can be bigger, yes, but we have certain limitations that we know about. What? What we have to do certain things, certain transactions, and certain players have been with us for a long time and they needed a new challenge in their career. You have signed a few players, it's been a bit different than the previous years, but I'm really happy with the quality of the squad. There are certain things that we cannot control, and what happened in the last 2 weeks is extremely unlucky. We have to face it, but hopefully during the season it will be very different. I really don't want to speak on this because it will be another half an hour rant about this, because I've said it in multiple streams already, genuinely. But, well, ultimately, we have signed a few players. It's been a bit different to the previous years. Well, we have to do certain things, certain transactions, and certain players have been with us for a long time and they needed a new challenge in their career. Cool, I get that. How comes you didn't replace them though? We have signed a few players. Okay, cool, you have signed a few players, but still not good enough. Not deep enough. Pause. And everything. How comes you didn't sign the players we actually needed? How comes your priority with the best defense in the league was to sign another left back? How comes that was a case? Left center back / left back. How comes that was a case? Not actually signing a striker, which you openly somewhat admitted half a year ago that you couldn't finish your chances because you don't have a proper bagsman up top. How about that? How about the backup for Saka, so for the last 10 to 15 games, he doesn't look like a sponge. Basically, he's squeezed out of any juice whatsoever. He looks like a raisin. If he looks like a grape at the start of the season, at the end of the season, he looks like a raisin, basically. How about a backup for Odegaard if you let both of your so-called backups in Vieira and Emil Smith-Rowe go? You're seeing what's happening now with Odegaard's injury. We have 1 injury in key position and it's already panic station. Pretty much it's already a panic because we don't have that. What happens if at the same time someone else gets injured? Merino is out till the end of September at least. Till mid-October, I would say. Odegaard will be back, I would say, by mid-late October at the quickest, at fastest. So we don't still know what's wrong with Calafiori. We don't know the extent of Calafiori's injury. We, to be honest, also don't know the extent of Odegaard's injury because they still haven't done all the tests, apparently. How long does it take? Is swelling on his ankle really that bad that the images are somewhat distorted and they need to do them again? Could that be the case? Is that injury really that serious? It looks that way, at least from our standpoint. Because there's no chance he's gonna be back in 3 weeks. Let's be real. He's gonna miss every single game until October's international break. 100%, which is in 20 days. He's gonna miss all 7 games. And there's a big chance he will miss even games after that international break. And yet you decided not to sign a backup for him, Saka, backup actually strikers, but you decided to sign another defender, signed about 3 goalkeepers last summer. Like, you basically strengthened positions which should not be the priority of the team. Which should not be the priority of the team. If you're holding on to, let's just say, philosophy of defense wins championships, right? You need to back that defense with actually an offense that can score consistent goals. That can score consistent goals. Consistent goals. Yet we cannot score consistent goals because we don't have a proper bagsman up top. Saka can get clamped up pretty easily. Our left wing is, I don't know, pretty much non-existent. And Odegaard barely shoots from outside the box. He has created one chance in the last, 3-4 games? Like, okay, cool, you have good defense. But you need to back that with decent attack as well. And at the moment, we don't have that. We are struggling really, really hard in those positions. I think at least 3 weeks. Yeah, Odegaard will be out at least till next international break, which begins on October 6th. And if we're lucky, he will be back after that international break. But based on the fact that they still haven't done all the scans, and I generally believe that the swelling on his ankle is that bad in a way, that it kinda is messing up the images, he might actually be longer for 3-4 extra weeks. It won't be like 3-4 weeks for him, it will be 2 months. He'll be back in 2 months, because he still needs to train, because he cannot train because his ankle is messed up. Yes, he can train upper body, but he cannot train his legs, he cannot kick a ball, do anything. So he'll need some practice times, he will need to get slowly integrated back into the team. So that legitimately will be about 2 months overall. At least. It won't be 3-4 weeks, it will be hella long time. Let's be real, it won't be instantly, it will be very, very long and rough time. On how to approach challenging period of the season day by day. Well, that's nothing new. If we look at what we're doing to be at the end of the May, tomorrow's game that we have to play. See, even I'm getting bored reading this Arteta waffle bullshit. Are going to run out of oxygen. What? I want to have the energy, the enthusiasm for the next day, the next game, and prepare them in the best possible way, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Spurs with unbelievable energy and believe that we are going to go there to be ourselves and try to win the game. How about just win the game, not try to win the game? How about be more confident in yourself and the team still? Because apparently we have had an amazing transfer window according to Top Gooners. Apparently our bench doesn't need fixing and starting 11 is good enough. So how about you don't say try to win the game, but say to be there ourselves and win the game. Remove this bit out. How about some confidence, some assurance and stuff like that? Because the way we moved in this transfer window, it looked like we don't need improvements in the squad. Yet at the same time, every single fan in the world, including not just Arsenal fans, but almost every single Rivals fan and other team fans said, you need a striker, backup for Saka, backup for Odegaard. Everyone saw that. How comes they did nothing about it though? How comes they did nothing about it though? Like, seriously, if we're talking here, seriously. By the time he's fully recovered, international football starts, he may play for his country. To be honest, the thing is, international break starts October 5th or October 6th. That's 2 more weeks, right? So our next games are October 18, something like that. We have a few games, right? And then there is also an international break in November. So in my opinion, the way this is going at the moment, he will be back somewhere in between the October games and the November international break. Somewhere in that timeline, most likely. Unless it's very serious and he'll be out for basically months. If it's something simple, something like just an extra sprain or stuff like that, I would say he will be back after the international break in October. That would be my guess. Because there's no reason for him to be risked whatsoever in 21 days. That's 3 weeks. He doesn't have enough time to recover, so he's not playing in this window before October international break. So the biggest chances of him is, if everything looks smooth, let's just say that, very positive, he will be back after October international break at best. If it's the worst case scenario, we might not see him till Christmas. That is the worst case scenario. But if you want a middle ground, he will be back mid-November, something like that, if it's everything just goes, basically shit hits the fan. On the Tottenham vs Manchester City game towards the end of the season, who the hell cares about that? Who the hell cares about this crap? It was last year. On Spurs fans wanting them to lose that game and the rivalry between the teams. Who cares about that as well? Who gets let into these press conferences to ask dumbass questions like this? Who the hell cares? Seriously, who the hell cares? Who the hell cares about stuff like this? Seriously. How empty your life has to be to care why they wanted to lose that game? Why there is that big of a rivalry and they hate us so much? Everyone knows it. Who cares? Like, seriously, who the hell cares about that? The biggest question is, why all of a sudden big part of Arsenal's fan base for one day became Spurs fans? Why is that the case though? That should be a bigger signing. Why all of a sudden Arsenal fans who are hating Tottenham with passion apparently become Spurs fans, sit on their watch-alongs, sit on their TVs, in the pubs and everything, and are cheering on Tottenham, are screaming their heads off when Son is one-on-one? How comes that thing doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me? I'm not gonna lie. Genuinely. This is the same thing as Manchester United going into City Stadium in Manchester United shirt and supporting City. Same levels. Like, just, it's like, it makes no sense to me, genuinely. Like, you can basically make this reference to any sport where there are big rivalries or there are two teams who are basically heated rivals in the same city. It's the same thing. That is the thing. Yeah, the press always asks something they can sell. It's always about the money. It's always about the money. Genuinely. If you look at most of the things that Kroenkes have done at Arsenal and everything, long term, short term, whatever, it hasn't per se been about progress. Either though it looks that on the front. But if you look deeply on the bits on the iceberg that are below the water, you will see that always the biggest chunk will be, it's about the money. Always. It's for clicks, it's for profits, it's for everything you can imagine. Just to get more eyes on you, just to get more money. It's always about the money. It's more or less nothing else. These questions like this, for example, Spurs fans, Tottenham versus City, there are more. There are more of these. Respect for Postecoglou and everything. Like, what are we doing here? Seriously. What are we doing here? It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, the thing is though, I said we're gonna talk about North London Derby, right? So might as well do it so. Might as well do it so. So what we're gonna do is build a squad, which at the moment I need to fix because it's a bit messed up. So bear with me here for a second. So this will be my starting 11, right? Which I think will start, which could start the game. And we're gonna speak on it. We're gonna speak on it, basically. That's how I see... Wait. Trossard. This is the starting 11 I would not mind seeing in the game for Sunday. This is the starting 11 I, in a way, want to see. Because in these games you need some experience, and throwing basically baby into the water, sink or swim type of scenario doesn't work for me. I'm not gonna lie. Although I have seen, as I said, 15 plus starting 11s where it involves Timber playing as a number 6, Calafiori playing as a number 6, Vanieri playing as an 8, as an 10 on certain occasions, Sterling playing as a number 9, Sterling on the left wing, Martinelli on the left wing, Trossard as center forward, Havertz in the midfield. I have seen pretty much everything you can imagine. Only thing I didn't saw, basically Raya playing at striker. That's the only thing I didn't see. But this is the starting 11 I think could do the job. This is the starting 11 I would play for the game. And I think many Arsenal fans with this starting 11 would be quite satisfied. It will be a very rough game. It will be a very tough game. Mentally, physically challenging, and with the issues we at the moment have with injuries, squad depth and everything, we will need to either kill this game super early to make it 2-3 nothing instantly and not let them back into the game, or it could be very painful in the long run with another injury or a red card or something like that. Obviously, Rice is not available due to red card. Calafiori is not available still due to injury, I would assume so. Odegaard is injured and who knows when he's going to be back. To be honest, same goes for Calafiori. Jesus is back. That is the big thing. The big question is, do you start Jesus in this game since he hasn't played quite for some time? Let's just say that. I wouldn't. I much rather would get him off the bench. That would be my thought process into this. We cannot afford to lose this. We cannot afford to do anything wrong. So for me, this is the starting 11 I am proposing for Arsenal to use. That is my prediction for me, how I would play this game. Sterling on the left, Saka on the right, Trossard as number 10, and Havertz up top. This is the way I would play it. And I think this team, nobody would be displeased if this team would be playing. Yes, I get it, that the fact that midfield, Jorginho and Partey is hella slow. But they actually could kind of just sit there. Just sit there. Basically park the bus, especially if Partey just sits there and Timber, they have those two here. I think it could be quite okay. Obviously, the pace in the midfield is quite worrisome, let's just say that. Because that is one thing, in a way, I would say the only thing that Spurs have the advantage over us in the midfield. It's the pace. Because their midfield in Bissouma, who actually might be injured, but although he might be back, I think also I read today that Mickey van de Ven and Dominic Solanke for them as well is back. So that is also not a great thing. Let's see what's gonna happen with that, of course. But for me, this would be the starting 11 I would put out. Because Sterling, I think, sooner or later will be starting. The left-sided part of Arsenal's team, specifically the left wing spot at the moment, is, I think, Arsenal's biggest mystery. Because left back, I think we have kind of figured out. Left side, center mid, we kind of know what most likely is gonna happen. The big question mark in all of this is the left wing. And I genuinely believe that Arteta wants to replace Martinelli. I'm starting to believe it more and more for over the last few windows, because he tried to replace Martinelli with Mudryk. Then we signed obviously Odegaard. He tried to replace him with Nico Williams and with other players on multiple occasions. More of a left-sided players. Now he signed Sterling as well. Yes, he can play right wing, but most of the time he plays left wing. Which obviously in this instance indicates that he doesn't trust his left side whatsoever. And obviously he also has this thing when players are like Swiss knives, they can play in multiple positions. So he thinks that, for example, Trossard can cover the 9 spot. Havertz could be playing in the 10 or an 8. So basically he has all the bases covered. The thing is, the way we play, we need to have some specialists in the team. Like out and out specialists. We cannot rely on players that do multiple things quite well, but don't excel at something specifically. Because, for example, Gabriel is our center back and nobody's going to move him from there until he gets injured or gets a red card or something like that. Same goes for Saliba, let's be real. Odegaard plays when he plays in this position, and nobody is replacing him because he doesn't have a backup and he is one of those quote-unquote specialists for Arsenal. Same goes for Saka because for Mikel Arteta he is in the category of so-called undroppables. He likes left-footed player on the right side and right-footed player on the left side, which to me makes zero sense in a way, but it is what it is because we never switch sides during the games. I throw different tactics and stuff like that. Our wingers don't have that much skill and creativity to create for themselves because, for example, Saka is very predictable on what he's gonna do. And that also what Bobby Perez called him out for in the video, in the stream we did yesterday and in the interview, that he's too predictable. On the left side as well, yes, Trossard is a great finisher. As a number 9, he actually could work because he's a very consistent finisher. As a super sub, he works because he comes on, and when every defender is tired, he can make use of his technical ability, close-up dribbling, and his finishing prowess over the most attackers we have to actually score goals. So off the bench, he is that much better. The left wing, though, is useless for us. Martinelli pretty much is non-existent, and Trossard, when he starts, also drops quite a bit of stinkers. So for me, signing Sterling could be the indication that he's trying to throw everything at the park to replace that left wing spot. Obviously, Sterling, in my opinion, is the best dribbler we have in the team at the moment for that left-sided spot, which makes a lot of sense. Pace-wise, yes, he has dropped a bit, but I think he compensates that with his agile and quick movement on the ball. Finishing and decision-making is Sterling's weakness. And to be honest, in a way, in the last 2 years specifically, it is also for Martinelli. Because his decision-making is questionable at times. He does the same things over and over and over again and expecting different results, but it always results in the same thing. He runs out of play at the end, basically. He runs out of the play with the ball. He throws the ball behind the defender and tries to outpace him, which obviously never works for him almost. Then he tries a cross in praise on his left boot that he finds Havertz, Saka, or late arriving someone in near there. So that left side has been a mystery for Arsenal for quite some time, for the last year and a half at least, I would say. And it's no wonder that he has tried to replace Martinelli on multiple occasions. I also have a feeling that if Martinelli doesn't step up this season, he might be gone next summer. For Arsenal, I think, to sign a high-end profile striker, forward, or whatever for the team means that one of the so-called high-end profile type of players need to go. And I think from all the players we have up front, the two main players that are more likely to go than the others is is Martinelli, and the other one is Gabriel Jesus, due to injuries mostly. Because if Gabriel Jesus, again, gets injured quite consistently this season and misses quite a bit of games, it's another player which is a massive liability and he needs to go. I don't care that he could be a backup for Saka or whatever, but he just needs to go. You cannot rely on players who are available for barely half the season or a bit more than that. You need players who are available for at least 85% of the season, who can play as a starter or a backup almost every single game, and it doesn't rack your brain and send your team and fan base in panic as soon as they get injured. And at the moment we are in those situations. So I think Sterling has been signed for the left wing spot to take over from Martinelli and Trossard. Trossard will be remaining as a backup. I really believe that Arteta is not a big fan of Martinelli. So at the end of the day, this is the starting 11. I think we should be playing this game. That is my prediction. Now we have to look at what most likely Mikel Arteta will do. What Mikel Arteta will do this Sunday. My prediction of what Mikel Arteta will do this Sunday is something like this. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do something like this, most likely. Most likely he will go something like this. He will do something he knows, because he's very stubborn and very mechanic, robotic. Obviously, if he surprises everyone, if he surprises Postecoglou, Spurs, Arsenal fanbase, me including in that regard, cool, good for him. The big issue is, this is the starting 11 I can see him going for, mostly because of predictability. Yes, I could say that if he's predictable, most likely it will look like this. But the way he speaks in interviews about Sterling, I very strongly believe that he will start Sterling on Sunday. Now, the biggest question is, will he start the game like this, or this Jorginho, or it will be Dvaneri and he will play it like this. Basically something like this. I can see something like this happening as well. Because the rumors about Dvaneri starting are kind of floating around, and I kind of have to go with the flow and see what is what. So the Dvaneri only way he can start is something in this regard. Obviously, he was playing against Germany under 19s. He had incredible moves. He almost scored a worldly of a goal. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, he got a bit of a knock there, but apparently he's fine, so he's ready. There were also images of today coming out that he's training with the first squad. So there is a possibility that he might start. And if he starts, I think this will be the team he will start him with. Mostly because I don't think he can afford to start Havertz up top and then put Vanieri in 8, because that is a very hell of a place for him to play. Trossard at 8 has never worked when he has played him there. And only way he plays Havertz up top is if the left number 8 is for us. Where is the guy? Where is the guy? Where is the guy? I don't see him. Why am I blind? Anyways, I'm gonna do it like this. Is Jorginho. That would be my my prediction for this. That is the other way I can see him go. Now the question is, will Arteta be bold enough to switch things around? Because at the moment, the way we are playing, it's sustainable if we have certain players in certain positions. More specifically, Odegaard and Rice. It's very sustainable. For Arteta to lose two of the main guys and having now to kinda wing it in a sense would also come with a territory where he should be able to explore certain formation changes, certain different options. Obviously, Mikel Arteta will never do that because he's very predictable in that sense. But how about we try something like this? Let's just say, for the sake of an argument, that Calafiori, or even Zinchenko to be honest, in that instance, is actually fit and can play. For me, this is a big thing for this case specifically. Because if we play 5 at the back, Zinchenko's defensive inability is kind of masked. And that is a big case in this instance. So I can see, let's just say this for the sake of an argument. I can see something like this. I would propose something like this. Because we still can, when we go on attack, we can go it like there, we can go it there, Sterling goes there, Jorginho goes there, Zinchenko inverts, Partey stays here, and Ben White is here. And we have options to kind of operate with the ball. White can overlap, Zinchenko also can overlap, and that could also allow, for example, Jorginho make runs, for Sterling maybe dictate the play or play it the other way around, for Sterling to make a run which would kind of drag the defender, and then Havertz maybe is open, or Zinchenko is kind of going wide overlapping, so he would have multiple options. And defensively we would have the solidity because we have 3 center backs. We wouldn't be as exposed if we overcommit half of our team up front and we are left with 2 center backs. That is the case that I would be going for potentially as well. The issue with all of this is, though, there is no chance in hell that he actually will do this, mostly because he hasn't done it before. Yes, he has played 3 at the back or 5 at the back when he just came into the team. There's no argument about that, because that's the way we beat Pep, we beat Conte, and we won the FA Cup. Conte? Was it Conte at Chelsea at the time? Maybe? Who am I mixing him up? Who was Chelsea's manager at the time? I legit I'm having a memory wipe. I think it was Conte, but Conte was at Spurs. Was he there before that? Anyways, we beat Chelsea and we beat Pep like that. Quite convincingly as well. We had the outlets, we had the overlaps. Obviously, Tierney was playing left back. so that was incredible for us because he loves to defend, he can overlap, and he has a good over-the-top ball passing. How he showed that for Aubameyang. So yeah, but that is the case. But I think Arteta might throw in a curveball in starting Wanjeri, and then our team would look like this. Personally, what I would do, I wouldn't start Wanjeri. I would start Trossard just to see what is what. Just so a 17-year-old Wanjeri instantly isn't thrown in the deep end. So that would be my case for this situation, for this instance. So let me know down in the chat, in the comments, or wherever you're watching this at the time, what you think about starting 11 and everything. Who will Arteta start and how it might look. Because for me, he has to throw something unexpected into the team, and he must throw in a curveball. Because you cannot sustain this instance where you pretty much use same starting 11 almost every single game, and you make player per player changes. Because the one thing Arteta does, which is really pissing I think everyone off, is he starts the same players all over the time, he doesn't rotate, and the second of all is the fact that when he makes subs, he puts on the players per position. So let's just say Trossard, let's just say who could come off. Trossard comes off, Martinelli comes on. Martinelli comes off, Trossard comes on. Jesus comes on, Havertz goes off. So basically number 9 per number 9, winger per winger, midfielder for midfielder. He doesn't switch it around, which is very annoying in that instant that it's very predictable. And he's never active. He's he's waiting for opponent to make the first move before he makes his move. He's very proactive. So that is very annoying. So he has to work on that as well, in my opinion. But overall, I generally believe if we put out this starting 11, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad whatsoever because that defense should be solid, should be holding up. Raya would be, Partey would be dropping between the lines in the defense, would be covering everything. Jorginho's passing ability could allow us to explore over the top balls and try to outplay the high back line that Ange Postecoglou inevitably is going to play. That passing could rip them to shreds. And on top of that, I think the attacking line would be experienced enough to finish at least 1 or 2 chances already in the first half to somewhat kill the game off. That is my opinion. The thing is though, if it all falls flat and we're 1-0 down though, because something happens or Gabriel has his bozo moment like he's had almost every single game this season already, then we are in deep trouble. Because we have to start some certain players, we have to put on players like Wanjeri, some other players, and that actually could cause problems. Because if Wanjeri comes on, he might create, obviously. Martinelli comes on and stuff like that. We have some defensive options and we have some few attacking options. The thing is, our midfield options, we don't have any. And that is also a big case because midfield basically 9 times out of 10 is a place where the game is won. And at the moment, our midfield is our weakest point in a way. Our attack looks decent in a sense that we can make some subs and some rotations. Finishing chances and everything, that is something different, let's be real. But our midfield rotation-wise at the moment is dustier than the Sahara Desert, genuinely. And that is something that it's really scaring me. There are old sayings about this, that the games are won in the midfield. Show me your midfield and I will tell you everything you need to know about your team. And at the moment, our midfield is our weak point. And they can exploit that. They're not gonna overrun them like a stampede or anything. But they could gain control over our midfield if we're not careful enough. And that is something that is really worrying me. So that's why I want us to score some quick goals if there is a possibility. And that's why I want Jorginho, for example, to start. Yes, it's a slow midfield with Partey and Jorginho, but I think with Jorginho being in that left 8 role, he actually could distribute the passing. We need some sort of a creativity since we have lost Odegaard. And I think Jorginho from deep ends could actually provide us with that. That is my reasoning of starting them. And if Arteta on Sunday puts out this team that you see right now on the screen, I wouldn't be against it. I'm not gonna lie. I would say that is a decent team that should get the job done. Because there's nothing much you can change about that team as well, due to our lack of abilities and everything. So that is the big thing. Big up Philip in the chat, big up. If you lose this weekend and City win as well as Liverpool, you'll be 5 points behind, which will make it difficult to stay in the title race. But by no means does it mean you are out of it this early. Obviously. At the moment, yes. The big thing is, last season we were holding City very close. The thing is though, we were holding them very close also due to the fact that in the first half of the season we didn't play City. The game got, I think, rescheduled to the second part of the season, so in a very short span of time we had to play City home and away. This season we are playing Manchester City very early in the season, and this will tell pretty much everything. Because let's just say we lose to them at the moment, we lose to Spurs on Sunday, and we lose to City at the Etihad. And we all know how Arsenal are doing at the Etihad. It's not the greatest thing for Arsenal, not the best place to go. We are instantly 8 points behind. And that is a massive, massive issue. For me at least. Because last season we draw 5 games and we lost 5 games. If we lose to Spurs and City, that's already 2 losses. And pretty much till the end part of the season, by then, we will have pretty much no margin for error whatsoever. We will have no margin for errors, for losing and drawing. And we Arsenal know that we have these banana peel games. We have times when we are very inconsistent. We went 1-7 last season where we lost the title, drawing against teams like Fulham. And we all know that Everton, Southampton are our bogey teams, and we have to play them still. We have to play certain games where we have to get it over the line. And at the moment, with the transfer window we have just had, where the team is pretty much, well, thinner like a piece of paper, as fragile as a glass, and let's be real, at the moment we have 22-man squad, the smallest one in Premier League. And we have 4 players out with injuries and 1 has a red card, which means we have 17 players pretty much for the Spurs game. And on top of that, that means that we have a starting 11, 6 subs, and rest of them are pretty much under 21s like Setford and all them, man. And the biggest part is we have no midfielders to sub on. We don't have any midfielders because all of them are injured or with red cards. We have defenders we can sub on, and we have arguably one attacker. No, let's just say 2 attackers we can sub on in Martinelli or Jesus. Well, depending who starts, basically. We have 2 attackers to sub on to try and change the game. And the midfield for me for this game is a big worry. Yes, the Spurs don't have the best midfield. Yes, and they don't look great in the midfield. But still, the midfield is for me a place where many games are won and lost. And at the moment, I'm very scared about that. We should be able to beat Spurs no matter what. But Spurs have Van de Ven back as well. They have Solanke back. Solanke hasn't scored a goal for Spurs if I'm not mistaken. Or at home at least. And if he scores at home against Arsenal, that would legitimately send the crowd into overdrive. I'm not saying that the title race is over and we are out of it if we lose to Spurs per se, but there is arguably more than ever riding on this game. Quite a bit riding on this game. And we are not, and our game schedule, to be honest, is not very kind to us as well, if you think about it overall. Because if we play, right? We play these games. We have Spurs, we have Atalanta away and City away. We have 3 away games and all are tough ones. Leicester at home, we have PSG at home, and then Southampton at home. International break comes, which could be a blessing to us, because Odegaard might be back. But straight after international break, right, we play Bournemouth away, which is never an easy place to go. Shakhtar Donetsk at home, who knows what Shakhtar we're gonna get. Then we have Liverpool at home. And then we have Newcastle away, Inter away, Chelsea away. Then we have another international break. So we have pretty much every single top 6 side away besides Liverpool up until November. Until November international break, we have pretty much every single top 6 side plus the hardest games you can play for Arsenal wise away. Besides Liverpool, which is at home. That is also a big thing we must take into account. And for Arsenal, it has never been a worry to play against the big teams. It wasn't under Wenger and anywhere. For Arsenal, the biggest worry is playing against these smaller teams. Everton, Fulham, Southampton. These teams where, I don't know why, but in history of Arsenal, we have a tendency to slip up. And that is the biggest worry. That for me is the biggest worry. Not per se the big games, despite the squad and everything, but specifically the smaller games. And I'm not sure how we're gonna cope with everything at the moment. Because games are coming thick and fast, and our squad is definitely not ready at the moment. We have very thin squad. But there's a big possibility that by Christmas we legit could be out of title race. There's a big possibility that by November, before November international break, the gap between first place and Arsenal could be hella big. There's a big possibility, especially if someone else gets injured for Arsenal, who is a big player we don't have a backup for. There is. It will be a very long and stressful time for Arsenal fans. It will be a very long and stressful time. But anyhow, I'm going for. I don't even know. I want to predict a win for Arsenal, really. But I don't know. My heart obviously is going to say that Arsenal are going to win. Let's be real. My heart is always going to say that Arsenal will win. But if I go with my gut, with my mind, in a way, I will go with my gut here, and I'm going to say 2-2 or 1-1. I cannot decide between those two. I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going to say 2-2. Just per se. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-2 draw for the Sunday game. But yeah, anyways, guys, if you're new around here, I'm going to end it here. If you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell, all that good stuff. Let me know down in the comments below if you're watching this as a playback or whatever. What do you think? Will Arsenal win? Thoughts on the injuries, that they haven't been resolved, the fact that Odegaard's injury is still a mystery, haven't heard anything about Calafiori. Let me know all that in the chat. Let me know your score predictions for North London Derby. Take care, stay safe, have a great evening, see you all tomorrow.